Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at headlines from our city, our state, and our country. We take a look at your comments, your ideas, your questions, your suggestions as English-speaking locals on how to best connect with our city, with our way of life, with each other, with our traditions, with our country, with our culture. That sounds a little bit ambitious, but we try to do that every single day that we get together, and we get together Monday through Saturday. Today is October 26th. We're getting close to the end of the month. We're getting close to the beginning of fall weather, although I took a quick look at our snarky carrot weather before the broadcast started, and I think humidity is still not getting the memo. We'll get into that in a second. But first, I want to welcome everyone, and particularly those of you who are joining us live for the first time. If that is your case, please feel free to write the word new in your comment, and we'll give you a nice little welcome. And if there's something on your mind that is truly important for you to share with us and for us to address during the broadcast, it helps a great deal if you add a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment so that we can look for that during the comment section later on in the program. Today, we have more news about the Malecon, some things that have to do with what we talked about yesterday, and other concerns that have more to do with the legal uses or the legally allowed uses for the Malecon and whether these are followed or not. We also have some, we have an update on a new state fair, a state fair that is coming back after the pandemic, which should be a lot of fun. Today, we unveil the music that I've been teasing you with over the past couple of days on our Facebook page. And today, we announce a very special Day of the Dead event that you may be interested in attending. So, if we're ready to go, I'm ready to go. So, we are pushing the button. Oh, wait, let me fix that. That's an easy fix. Hold on. Okay. So, as is frequently the case, once a local news source focuses on something that needs to be fixed or addressed by the city, other news sources quickly followed. This time around, Noticias PB has joined the chorus about the state of the Malecon, right where the seahorse sculpture is located. And in looking at this photograph and other photographs in the article, it's clear to see how some repairs and improvements are very much needed here and hopefully sometime soon, as this is an area that is frequently used by locals and visitors, and the last thing the city would want is for someone to have a serious accident there. Now, there are other Malecon-related concerns that are worth visiting, and we can do this thanks to this other news article in which City Council member Francisco Sanchez Gaeta reminds us of the proper and improper uses of the Malecon, Malecon according to law. The council member is seen here looking like he's regretting having had that extra serving of birria this morning. But what he brings to light is the fact that the Malecon is a federal zone. And our municipality is granted permission to use it, but only for specific purposes, specifically for people to walk through, for people to enjoy, for people to get from point A to point B. And this is federal law. Then there is municipal law that also determines the proper use of the Malecon, the main plaza, and so forth. So what is not actually allowed by law? Well, things like ambulant businesses, fairs, the installation of stages and other items that have nothing to do with the local flavor of the city. And one has to wonder if this includes giant Catrinas and, things like that. But we know this happens all the time, and you're probably thinking, what's the big deal? And yes, there are ways to acquire permits to use the Malecon or to create special events that take place at the Malecon. But the challenge for city council members such as Dr. Sanchez is that whenever these permits are granted, they are granted with no transparency by the city. So nobody knows who applied for permits, who pocketed money, or where the cash went, or where it came from, and so forth and so on. So hopefully, by bringing this up to the general public's attention, this is an aspect of Malecon use that local authorities will hopefully tighten up in the near future. Now, I want to give you a little bit of an update on the murder of SEAPAL director Salvador Llamas, which took place this past Friday in Guadalajara. We are still pretty much in the dark. The first statements released by the state's attorney's office said that the incident, which included up to 10 people carefully positioned inside of the restaurant as restaurant guests, was carefully orchestrated and executed by members of organized crime. That said, Mexico President Andrés Manuel López Obrador stated in one of his morning conferences that Salvador Llamas did not have ties to organized crime. But we know that he was killed by the man he was having dinner with. So why was he killed? Well, let us recall that one of the items that kept Salvador Llamas busy was the removal of illegal rock diggers along the banks of the Ameca River. And I'm not talking about little people like you and I going out there with a little basket collecting pebbles. There were companies that had gotten used to extracting soil and rocks with huge pieces of equipment for construction purposes. But in doing so, they were altering the flow of rivers and causing unexpected flooding. So we know that part of the work that Salvador Llamas was involved in was stopping this and being vigilant about those areas. So, but do we know if this tension was large enough for a murder of this magnitude? Well, when questioned about this, our mayor stated that he never knew if Salvador Llamas was being threatened for attempting to stop this illegal operation or not. It is also known that Salvador Llamas had as many as 40 security guards at any time, and that their salaries were being paid for by our tax money and not in the most transparent way, according to City Hall. Meanwhile, our mayor, who is the highest local authority, goes around with only 4 security guards. So why did Salvador Llamas need 40 security guards? Well, this is where we're at, in the dark. In other news, Mayor Michel is expected to announce the new director of SEAPAL sometime today. And now let's turn over to Snarky weather so that you can find out what I already know. Yes. It's 25 degrees, which is lovely, but humidity is back at 100%. I mean, what the fuck? Who is putting these things together? Our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 78. And Snarky Weather says today is a perfect day to pick up that bad habit you dropped a while back. Oh, I've been given license to enjoy some Butterfingers. I love it. So, not only can we today pick up that bad habit that we have been neglecting, today we are going to enjoy a humid and partly cloudy day with a high of 29 and a low of 22. Tomorrow, Thursday, we will have a humid day with a high of 29 and a low of 20. And then on Friday, another humid day with a high of 29 and a low of 20. There you go. Moving right along, what do we have next? Yes, of course, it is time for this. I've been teasing you with this. Some of you try to guess. I gave you a hint. I told you that it was a Hungarian composer, and it was. A Hungarian composer, pianist, and teacher of the Romantic period, Franz Liszt gained renown during the early 19th century for his virtuoso skills as a pianist. He composed many works for the piano. He did a lot of transcriptions of orchestral works for the piano, including Beethoven's 9 symphonies. Of course, the symphonies are orchestral pieces, but if you want to enjoy any or all of Beethoven's symphonies as played only on the piano, Franz Liszt took up the task to create that transcription for us. He also composed a series of 19 Hungarian rhapsodies, of which number 2 is without a doubt the most recognizable, largely thanks to Bugs Bunny, who performed it often in his cartoons. Now, I've been teasing you with the first 4 bars of the 9th Hungarian Rhapsody, and I will leave you a link to it in the show notes for you to enjoy if you so desire. Now, here's another fun event that returns after the pandemic, and I must say I made a mistake in my pre-show announcement. I said that we had new reasons to go back to San Sebastián del Oeste, and that was not the town I should have mentioned. I should have mentioned Talpa de Allende, because it's in Talpa de Allende where the fair that celebrates guava, coffee, and chilte, the state fair is coming back after the pandemic. It will take place between November 14 and 21. Every day is a good day to visit San Sebastián del Oeste, but if you've never been to Talpa de Allende, this is a good opportunity to enjoy Talpa, because you will be able to enjoy the 3 main products that are produced in the town, which are, of course, guava. We know guavas. We know coffee. And chilte is that gum-like latex substance extracted from a local tree and turned into tiny figurines that you can either chew and destroy your dentures with in the process, or you can simply admire. We talked about chilte not too long ago because our friend Eric brought it up in conversation. He went to a local candy store and purchased some chilte and took it to his mouth, and he had a hard time chewing it, and he was wondering if it was stale or something. And unfortunately, that's what chilte tastes like. Again, some people eat it, other people just admire it. One way or another, I think it'll be a great opportunity to visit Talpa de Allende if you haven't done this before. It takes about 2.5 hours to drive to Talpa de Allende. There is a local bus that gets you there, but unfortunately the bus is very much a local bus, a slow bus that makes a lot of stops. So we did some research not too long ago, and I think it takes like 4.5 hours to get to Talpa de Allende by bus. Almost as much as it takes to get to Guadalajara. So you want to spend a day in Talpa if you get there very early and if you leave late in the day, or you want to spend at least one night over there. The last thing that I want to share with you today before we get going into the comment section is that I spent a fair amount of time yesterday starting research for our very own special Day of the Dead broadcast, which will take place on Friday. Friday, we will dedicate our entire broadcast to Day of the Dead, its origin, the traditions. We will learn about why we are so comfortable with the skull image. We will learn about where Katrina comes from. We will learn about the very uncomfortable marriage between pre-Hispanic traditions and Catholic traditions when the conquistadors arrived. And this, of course, is going to happen on Friday. I thought I'd let you know. And this, of course, brings us to our comment section. And let's see what we have here. Good morning good morning, Luisa. Luisa is now our unofficial Guadalajara-based correspondent. Luisa has been writing to me about all the things that she and husband Lucas have been enjoying while they get settled in their new city. And we have good mornings from a bunch of friends. They are always nice to read. Thank you very much. Colleen is in the Marina. Remember, Colleen, that your farmer's market kicks off tomorrow. The farmer's market at the Marina kicks off tomorrow for anybody that lives over there or would like to stop by the market. That will be a great opportunity to do so. Let's see what else we have. Rub it in. Sherry says, morning. You might be happy to know David gets to eat something homemade today for lunch on this chilly day. Chicken noodle casserole, all prepped and in fridge for later to bake. Yeah, that sounds yummy. I love it. Let's see. Luis is in Punta Negra. How did you guys fare with the hurricane, Luis? I know that you may have gotten a fair amount of wind. If you have something to comment to that effect, please let us know. But I certainly hope that you guys are doing okay. Yes, Dan and Kathy are back in town. I said hello briefly over the weekend. I love it because every time I go to Costco and I get the Costco frozen lasagna, I think about Dan and Kathy for whatever reason. Yay. Let's see. Lots of pictures of cleanup. Looks like people and places are recovering. Yes, that is the case, Paula. I mean, what else is one to do? Although I did read somewhere that Mexcaltitan, the island in Nayarit, was which is a pueblo mágico, it was so severely destroyed it now is under risk of losing the title of Pueblo Mágico. I don't know the details surrounding that statement, but I did read it in passing in one of the news headlines that I was looking at this morning. We hope that they will continue to recover as well. Let's see what else. Here's my lunch date. Today I'm going to get together with Bill. I'm looking forward to that. We're going to see what kind of new exciting changes are taking place at Artisan Bakery. And I'm also going to sit down with Bill to find out how he is adapting to full-time life in Puerto Vallarta as an English-speaking business owner. And hopefully we'll learn some interesting insight in the conversation, which, of course, we will bring to you sometime in the very near future. Paula says, I know the music, but didn't want to reveal the surprise. The suspense, rather. That's okay. That's okay. That would have made me tickled to know that somebody else out there is familiar with some of my favorite music. And again, it's a piece. I think it's about 8 or 9 minutes long, maybe a little longer. I will share it with you in the show notes. Cheryl has a very good question, wondering if anyone knows how El Oasis del Holy restaurant and beach are doing during these difficult times. Is the restaurant open and is there any beach? I've been meaning to head in that general direction and I just haven't been able to, so I have very little to report, Cheryl. You may want to consider just going into the Facebook page and sending them a friendly note. You know, I am sure that if I was the owner of El Oasis del Holy and somebody wrote me to say, hey, you don't know me, but I hope you're doing okay, I would feel good receiving that question. So you may want to consider doing that. And if somebody else has a more accurate report about what's going on at El Oasis del Holy, I would very much appreciate it as well. So what you're saying is they're not technically allowed to set up a questionably assembled Alpine-themed Christmas village for what feels like 3 months in the winter. Oh, Logan, I was so much trying to forget that memory, and you brought it right back to the tip of my forehead. What was up with that? Do you guys remember that crazy Alpine-looking Christmas village that was set up in the Malecon? And then they were all getting ready to set up vendors inside of each one of the little shacks that they built. And then the city council quickly reminded our mayor, dude, you can't do that. And the nearby businesses also said, dude, that's unfair competition for us. So again, it's a good thing that our city council members are being vigilant of these things, just in case our mayor needs a little reminder of what can and cannot be done. Oh my God, Michael. Any idea on the budget that they're spending on the Katrina for this Guinness record thing? I have no idea. I'm not a fan of the whole thing. I mean, let them develop, if they develop a Guinness record for like the longest boardwalk or something more permanent, then I would say, spend all the money you have or spend all the money you need. But, when they spend money, and I'm sure they're spending money on something that is going to be set up for a week or two and then it's going to be taken down, no idea. And I really don't want to know. Connections and friendships we have made through Paco's incredibly supportive coffee and headlines have helped make getting our permanent residency so much easier. Thank you, Paco and Cluster. Wow, that is so sweet to read. Thank you very much, Den. I can say that connections are made all over the place, and I'm glad to be part of whatever good things come out of producing coffee and headlines on a daily basis. Let's see what else we have. Oh, Margaret is excited about arriving tomorrow. Lovely. Sherry says, but some of the village looked cute. Well, yeah, but again, there are ways to do things, and unfortunately, the way this whole thing was set up was not very clear from the beginning. So there you have it. Ryan is amazed to see that someone who leads a public utility should not need 40 security guards, right? Yes. So it's a whole mystery to me. Let's see what else we have. I'm looking for cues, and I love learning all those traditions. Oh my God, Claude, you're gonna love when we discuss the infra world that the Mexica people believed in. When we die, we go to this place called Mictlan, and it's like a huge mall because there are 9 sections to the place. It was, managed by a god and a goddess of death, and you went to different places according to how you died. And it actually, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but let's just say it takes 4 years to die. In the original pre-Hispanic tradition, it takes 4 years to die. So we're going to learn a little bit about this, that, and the other on Friday. Hi, Paco. Friday afternoon or evening for the broadcast? No, this is going to be the theme of our everyday 10:30 in the morning broadcast. I'm just letting you know that Friday there will be no news. It's all going to be Halloween, and I will try to bring back to the table all these events that are Halloween related, Day of the Dead related, so that we can all have like a reminder in one. Sorry for the dumb question, but it's interesting to me. I heard my friend saying porfa instead of por favor, and on my walks, the older people just say buenas instead of buenas tardes. Is this just a local thing? That's a great question. It is not dumb at all, Mark, and it is common throughout Mexico. We sometimes shorten words, just like some of you seem to have an affinity for acronyms that not everybody will know. We tend to shorten certain words. For example, a lot of people don't say computadora or computer. A lot of people will say compu. People in your case do not say por favor. They simply shorten it to say porfa. It's just an informal, more casual way to refer to things. It is quite common throughout Mexico, and it is what it is. Let's see what else. Pam Thompson is accepting donations, even a PayPal, for helping north of PB for hurricane relief. Janet, I appreciate that knowledge. Maybe you can connect the dots for us and give us a specific web page or URL where people can make the connection. Otherwise, we're not entirely sure of what this is about and the details, but thank you very much for sharing that information. Is lasagna a favorite of mine, says Claude. Well, I've always liked lasagna to begin with, but then before the summer when Dan and Kathy were leaving, they had a couple of frozen lasagnas in their fridge that I inherited, and I became hooked on the frozen lasagna from Costco. So now I always keep it in stock for those days in which I don't feel like cooking. All I have to do is put one in the fridge, and then just bake it, and it's yummy. So yes, I love lasagna. Let's see what else. Your recommendation, this might be helpful to other people, and I just want to make sure that you hear this. Your recommendation of Nestor to help with the residency process has been so incredibly useful. He has been just great, competent, professional, and kind with an obsessive attention to detail. Thank you both. There you have it. So if anybody has issues with residency process, here is a man to know. Let's see what else. Oh yes. Dave says the lasagna they make at the Montebello Italian restaurant in San Sebastián is excellent, and you are absolutely right. To go to San Sebastián del Oeste and not have a meal at Coco and Walter's wonderful Italian restaurant, Montebello, is simply unforgivable. You are missing out on some of the best Italian food in the region. Let's see what else we have. Thank you for that, Daniel. Daniel says, you look much better. Thank you. And thank you for the hugs. I do feel much better. There you have it. Thank you, Candace. Oasis de Holy is fine. Daughter and I beach cleaned there Sunday. There you have it. That's a great report to receive. Sheila says, walk by the Oasis del Holy on Monday. They are closed on Mondays, but did not look like they were affected by the hurricane, and otherwise looked like they were open. Now I have a craving to go to El Oasis del Holy. I love it. Let's see what else. Vic comments on the incident with Salvador Llamas. Apparently not enough security. Where was the security when the shooter sitting at the table was when the shooter was sitting at the table? It is absurd. Well, I mean, for better or worse, Vic, most of these murders and tragic incidents are absurd to begin with, and we may or may not learn all the details. That's unfortunately the nature of the beast. Harold provides a wonderful idea. Make it a long weekend by visiting Talpa, Mascota, and San Sebastián. The three magic towns are working together, which is very, very true. I think it's a great weekend, and it's a great recommendation. Doody doody doo. Diddy dee dee dee. Let's see what else. Can't wait for Friday to hear all about the history of Dia de los Muertos. Oh my God, here's an invitation I cannot pass on. Paco, I will make you a lasagna on your next sleepover. Just say when. Sorry, have not been as present lately with two events 2 weeks apart. We have been busy. Yes, King Midas and Lucy are preparing another Hecho a Mano event. I believe it's on November the 2nd. We will have an announcement for that on Friday as part of our big Dia de los Muertos package. Why are we having a Dia de los Muertos package special, in case you were wondering? Because you have several ways to celebrate Dia de los Muertos. You can just be part of the celebration and join the fun and paint your face and so forth and so on. Or you can enjoy Dia de los Muertos with a little bit more intention and mindfulness by understanding where it came from and why it's a joyful thing and what we celebrate and so forth and so on. So there you have it. Oh, my bad. It's not on the 2nd. It's on October 30th. Thank you very much for that, Joshua. I will add that to our list of events to mention tomorrow and for the rest of the week. And with that said, we've reached the end of today's broadcast. As always, I thank you for your company. I thank you for your suggestions, your contributions, and for being such an awesome community. Every time I hear news of someone that discovered a new friend, a new restaurant, a new activity, or that was otherwise benefited or inspired by what we come and bring to the table is a good opportunity to remember that we're doing the right thing. So with that said, stay happy, stay healthy, stay kind, stay in touch, and I'll see you again tomorrow morning.